Let's start with the preliminary budget that we adopted. The tax rate per thousand will be 50.06. There will be no increase in taxes this year. It's a 0% increase. That amount per thousand went up slightly from 48.30 last year. Like I said, to 50.06 this year due to the fact that the total assessment value of the town has declined. Other than that, there is no decrease or increase in taxes. Like I said, it's a flat tax again this year, no raises in taxes.
There may be some differences in some people's if their assessments didn't get lowered like some did.
Correct. If your assessment, again, on your assessment went up, obviously tax may go up a little bit. Assessment stayed the same, you should see barely any difference in your taxes. And for some reason your assessment went down, you should see a decline in your taxes. So it will vary for everybody, but just so you know, the town has not increased taxes at all. So total amount of this year's budget we're proposing is $643,236. That is an increase over last year. We had $611,881. The main difference in that difference is the fact that we put in some money for a building on the highway garage, a storage building, roughly 30 by 50 is what we figured. That's separately itemized and funded from our from our reserve fund and our Con Ed fund, which we have in the budget also for a $30,000 price tag. So that is actually funded from the reserves and it will not affect the actual tax dollars collected. So that's the difference in the large increase in the actual total amount of budget. Just to highlight a few of the increases and decreases, not to go through all of them, but I do want to, this is a minor one, but I do want to specify why the supervisor line increased. We did allow a small increase for our bookkeeper, which we haven't given an increase in several years, and it's under the supervisor's .4 account. So that line shows going from $9,800 to $10,100. There's a $300 increase which goes to the bookkeeper. So I don't want anybody thinking I'm taking a raise, but that's the bookkeeper's increase in there. The attorney line, we reduced $1,000. To highlight some of the bigger ones, the buildings account, we raised $3,000 from $10,000 last year to $13,000 this year for some repairs that we need on the furnaces and for the painting of the academy building, which we're budgeting for this year, which we had last year, which we didn't do. So we put it in this year. The highway superintendent salary is an increase. We talked about this a little bit. For our full-time highway for our superintendent and our 2 full-time employees for the highway, we did agree to give a 1.5% increase. This was on, we had a schedule where we were doing, when times were good, they were getting raises yearly. Times went, bad for the past 5-6 years, we were doing that an every other year raise. And now we decided to go ahead this year. They received a raise last year. We decided this year to give them a 1.5% increase because of the fact that, the extraordinary amount of extra work they do for the town, help us do everything possible above and beyond our job descriptions. We thought that 1.5% increase is not a lot of money, and we thought they were deserving of that, so we agreed to put a 1.5% increase in there. So the highway superintendent's salary went up $707 for the year. What else do we have? The veteran services, last year we removed money from the veteran services because we thought one of the VFW was actually out of business and not working, not in business anymore, so their money was removed from the budget. This year we're putting money back in the budget to make a donation to them for next year. So that line has went up $300 extra. So we put that back in for next year's budget. The parks, we reduced from $5,000, which we budgeted to use, down to $3,000. We reduced that by $2,000. That money, basically, that we budgeted $3,000 for is money we take out of the recreation fees, which cover the $3,000 for the parks. Planning, we reduced what we pay the .4 by $1,000, hoping to reduce the attorney fees. And that's that's about it on the general expenses. The general revenues, we increased the sales tax appropriation from the county by $5,000. So we increased it from $150,000 to $155,000. And the fines and forfeitures, we increased by $1,000 from $5,000 to $6,000. We collected more than that last year. We expect to collect the same for this coming year. So, and the other big one was we reduced the mortgage tax revenue from $40,000 to $35,000. So we dropped that $5,000 because of the fact that this year we received less than that, and we are not optimistic about mortgage tax picking up. And sales tax has been very strong and above and beyond what we budgeted, and we're going to continue to hope that continues. On the highway side is where most of the changes, the bigger number changes have come from. Under general repairs, which is the full-time labor, the labor is increased with the 1.5% for the 2 full-time employees by $2,445. So it went from $75,555 to $78,000. The part-time, overtime, part-time line item, we increased from $7,000 to $8,000, so that was a $1,000 increase. Improvements, is the road money used for the road repairs. We increased from $35,000 to $39,000. We increased to $4,000 from the list of money, or excuse me, from the list of roads that the highway superintendent provided us that they want to do this coming year. He felt he needed that extra $4,000 to complete a section of road that he really would like to get done to keep on his work schedule. So we increased that $4,000. Machinery line item was reduced from $5,000 to $3,000, so that went down $2,000 in the .2 for equipment. And the .4 was reduced from $30,000 down to $15,000, so that dropped $15,000. Brush and weeds, which is the fuel, diesel fuel, mostly fuel, diesel fuel, and gas, went from $16,000 to $19,000, went up $3,000. And the snow removal line, which is sand, salt, we increased from $20,000 to $25,000, so that went up $5,000. Minor ones, in the transfer to capital, which is the equipment fund that we transfer money into yearly, we increased from last year we had $15,000 after we got done to $33,000 is what we're going up to, so that increased by $18,000 to put into the capital equipment fund. And again, on the highway revenues, we increased the sales tax from $150,000 to $155,000. That was an increase of $5,000. And that is about it. There's a couple other minor changes on several lines, a few $100s here and there, but that's the makeup of the bulk of the budget. Again, there's no increases to the taxpayers. We kept it as flat. We do have budgeted and estimated from fund balance to balance this budget from the difference in the revenues and the amount collected by taxpayers of $64,024 is what we anticipate taking out of fund balance between the highway and general. Again, that's down from last year. Last year we anticipated $83,000. So we actually lowered that prediction for raising revenues and the cutting of costs. So that's a quick summary of the budget. It has been available for anybody that wanted to pick it up, look at it. Any questions? At this point, I'd like to open up the floor for questions or public comment. Okay, we have no other comments. I'll
Hearing none, I'll move we close the budget hearing.
close the budget hearing. Very good. Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, you'll start the meeting to order, please. We'll salute the flag. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, before we get started this evening, I'd just like to start out by just apologizing for my abrupt departure last month at our meeting. I had a emergency. My daughter got injured and had to go to the hospital, and I kind of dropped everything and let Bob take over and had to leave abruptly. So I just want to apologize to everybody and the board for that. And and she's doing fine now, but it's just something I had to take off pretty quickly last month, so it's just, I wanted to say something, sorry for that. Start out with the approval of the town board meeting minutes, regular meeting, October 6th.
So moved.
Second?
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. We also had a budget workshop on October 13th. Any questions, comments, corrections? Motion approved.
Move to approve. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, let's start with the clerk report. Mary?
Town clerk's report for October 2014. Community house lease, $1,000. Planning board for boundary line change, $100. Dog licensing, $22.50. Driveway permits, $25. Town clerk fees for decals, fishing and hunting, $14.06. Miscellaneous for the piano at the community house, $200. Vital statistics, $300. Community house donation, $100. Total check for the general fund, $1,761.56. Trust and agency for escrow, $855.20. Paid to New York State Department of Ag and Markets for dog surcharges, $9. Paid to New York State Department of Environmental Conservation for hunting and fishing, $240.94. The total for October, $2,866.70.
Okay. Motion to approve the clerk's report.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Is that it?
That was
Oh,
good.
Chris.
Okay, Mary. Mail review.
Okay. For those that are here tonight, tomorrow night, well, tomorrow is election day, everyone knows, we're having our ham dinner with sides and dessert at the community house from 4 to 6 p.m. Tickets for adults are $9. Children 5 to 12 is $5, and 4 and under are free. So that's tomorrow night right here at our community house. Also, the Clermont Fire Department is having a penny social on Sunday, November 9th at 1 p.m. with drawings to begin at 2 p.m. There's refreshments, door prize, and a 50-50 raffle. For additional information, you can call Tammy at 518-755-9374. That's at the firehouse on 9G. And we have a letter from Veterans of Foreign Affairs, Southern Columbia Memorial Post 6398. Attention town representatives. Each year, the local veterans organizations combine to observe Veterans Day. During this ceremony, we travel to each local town hall and present the town with a new American flag to be flown over your facilities for the upcoming year. We also collect all flags that have completed service or are in need of being properly retired. The American flag is a symbol of freedom to us, and we encourage your town to collect any unserviceable flags from the community and pass them on to us for suitable retirement with honor. As the flag has proudly flown over homes, schools, government buildings, firehouses, police stations, and of course, leading our armed services into and back from harm's way. This year, the ceremony schedule is as follows. 10:30 a.m. Town of Germantown, 11 a.m. Town of Livingston, 11:30 a.m. Town of Clermont, 12 o'clock flag retirement ceremony at Legion Post on Woods Road, and Community Veterans Day refreshments with hamburgers, hot dogs, chips, and drinks. All are welcome. We look forward to seeing you there. Background on our organization and what we provide the community is on the back side of this letter. Would you like me to read all that? Or read it all? Or?
To go into all that. I just want to make sure we know the date again.
Okay.
The date and time.
November 11th.
Okay.
I'm not sure what day of the week. Is that a Monday?
Tuesday.
Tuesday this year? Okay. 10:30 a.m. Town of Germantown, 11 a.m. Town of Livingston, 11:30 a.m. Town of Clermont,
Okay.
and 12 o'clock on Woods Road at the Legion Post.
Okay. Good. Thank you.
Okay. And will you cover this? Or that's all I have, unless you want.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Okay, moving on. Correspondence for web committee. Anybody have any suggestions, comments, concerns, ideas? Anything?
Nothing came in by email.
Okay.
And we do have tickets tonight, if anybody wants.
Oh, for the election day dinner, if
Yes.
anybody
Yeah.
wants tickets, do we do have tickets here? Okay, excellent. Okay, move on to committee reports. Bob?
We now have 2 picnic tables at the park. Swings, as we said last week, were done and the grass is coming in well around them.
Right.
There's a little bit of sinkage in the surface. We may have to take a look at that in the spring and see if it needs to be brought up or fixed. We also, I don't know if anybody noticed, there's no flag flying out front tonight. The flag got blown over. No, actually the rope broke and the flag was on the ground. It got picked up. And it's also a little bit tattered, so we do need to get a new flag at some point. I understand from Mary that was donated last time. Maybe we can get that donated again, otherwise we should buy one.
Okay.
It needs to be 8 by 5 to, or 5 by 8 for that size flagpole. So, and I guess that's it.
I know, I think we've already put a call in to get the rope replaced as far as boom truck to replace it, so I think Germantown Telephone Company is supposed to be on fitting that in their schedule to come help us out with that, because it's kind of difficult to get up there with that, to get a new rope on there.
Yeah.
But as soon as we do have that in place, we will have a new flag and we will have it installed. Okay. That's it? All right. Anything to add?
Nothing for me.
Nothing to add? There was a question about our budget being, the old budget online. Is that online there, or do we
No.
need to,
We haven't been putting them
we
in.
haven't been putting it online, even the last year's?
No.
Okay,
We have never, no.
okay. All right, I thought someone asked me about the insurance, asked all the time,
The
so,
county doesn't either, do they? I don't believe they do.
no, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'll check into that. Okay. All right, Chris, do you have anything?
Nothing.
Okay, move on to old business. Bridge update. I'd like to talk about the bridge. The bridge we talked about, I don't know how many times over the last year. Just want to let everybody know what happened and what transpired the last Public Works meeting. It was brought to the Public Works for the approval to the committee, and it was voted down by the committee to put to rebuild the Binghamsmore Bridge. Despite, tireless efforts on my behalf, Bob's attended a few meetings, he's worked on this as well. I went to the Livingston Town Board meeting. Livingston passed unanimously supporting this bridge to be reopened. Germantown, I believe the board didn't pass a resolution, but they also had a split decision on the board, but they were overall in favor of opening this bridge. And obviously we, not unanimously, but we had the majority of the board supporting reopening the bridge as well. I brought all this information to the county because they wanted to know what the pulse of the community was as far as, does the community think it needs to be reopened in the area? 2 months ago, I brought it up there. We actually passed a resolution unanimously to go ahead and rebuild this bridge. 2 members were absent, but 7 of us voted in favor of reopening the bridge. Last month, there was a petition brought up by residents on the road that said they were concerned about it being open. They wanted to remain closed. So they put it off for another month, asked the supervisor to go back and ask the boards and get support from the boards and the community if we should reopen this or not. So we did, Livingston, Germantown, and Clermont. We brought this information back to the board. Overwhelming support from both fire districts, from Clermont and Livingston. The 3 town boards in the surrounding towns that use this bridge all supported it. The Columbia County Traffic Safety Board supported this and had 125 signatures on just a petition from people that we bumped into asking them, would you like this open? All this information was provided to the Public Works Committee, and 5 of the members voted against reopening the bridge. There is no excuse for this. I apologize to the people that want this bridge open. This was 100% politically influenced and strong-armed to the supervisors that changed their votes. And there's one person individually that actually made this happen, which I'm not going to name any names, but I think everybody can figure out who it was that made this vote go the way it did. very disappointed in the supervisors that were influenced by this. But as it is, it's voted down, it's not gonna get replaced. We're gonna do everything we can to help the residents on the Clermont side that have the issues that they're facing. We're gonna try and get turnarounds put in. We are gonna get turnarounds put in, and we're gonna do what we can to get the school bus to go down there. And hopefully, God forbid if emergency services are needed from Livingston or mutual aid, it's gonna be a delayed time in response from them and possibly the ambulance service. But the town will do everything we possibly can to help with this, and we'll do what we can as far as facilitating the turnaround. Hopefully next year we put in, and then a permanent closure will be coming up of that bridge probably within a couple of years. And I don't know if Bobby would like to add anything, but I'll just...
Well, one of the things I thought it says that they were looking at the priorities of other bridges in the county, because there's a lot, I mean, it's an embarrassment to go around this county and see all of the bridge closed and detour signs, and every time you close a road or a bridge, you take away an option, and pretty soon if you keep closing them, you'll be out of options. But I thought that they were supposed to get a list of the priorities, and is there any possibility that bridge could then be put back in, behind some of the others and take another shot at it? I mean, I've had several people that I've run into that I had talked to before, that had signed the petition, saying to me, well, how did that make out? And when I told them, well, they voted it down, these people were very upset. Right? I had one woman ask me today, and she said, how can they do that? How can they close a public road? I don't have an answer for that.
Well,
But I think that at some point it ought to be looked at again.
We're going to take a look at the overall list of bridges and the priority. Even if this falls on a non-priority bridge, where it would fall in the list of bridges, but, I'm going to tell you right now, it's not going to happen. So, with the circumstances the way they are, it'll never happen. So, but we certainly haven't given up completely, but we will follow up. The Livingston Town Supervisor and myself are the most concerned about this. We will take a look at that and make sure that the proper attention is brought to it. But I'm going to stop updating on this because it doesn't need to be updated on every month, but I certainly am not happy with the way it's turned out. So, moving on. The bridge, so we'll take that off the list for next month. The park update. I just want to mention for the park, again, for some reason, we have another person that decided to do some donuts in their car and tear up the lawn a little bit in the parking lot. For some reason, we seem to attract a lot of kids to this park that want to tear it up a little bit. So luckily, the neighbors saw this late at night, called the sheriff's office, and they did have enough time to get down and catch the person. So the person that was caught doing this has been arrested and issued an appearance ticket. And we have a list of materials that, it's a minor list, some topsoil, some seed, some straw and stuff that needs to be fixed, and we're going to certainly look for restitution on that. But luckily we did find them, we did catch them, and we did prosecute. And I just want to put this out as a reminder, I want everybody to be aware, it is town property, it is a destruction of town property. If you do so and we catch you, we will arrest you and we will prosecute this. It's not something we're trying to build a park up, any town property. We certainly will not tolerate any kind of vandalism of any sort. So I have spoke to the mother of the person, the kid, I say kid, the young man that's done this. Very, very apologetic. I don't think it was done intentionally to vandalize anything. Probably, kids being kids. But anyway, it's he is going to court, and the judge will take this up for him. Oh, brownfield funding. I just want to, we had an application, a deadline for funding for the state. Apparently has found some more brownfields money to fund these projects with, which we are faced with. To remind everybody, we have 7 acres over here on a 20-acre parcel that has been declared contaminated. We've been on a waiting list for, well, it's been forever, years and years and years. They have more funding available. They asked for applications to be resubmitted. We did have, I did have Andy, our attorney, apply, put the application in. They did send back some additional requirements, and they wanted another resolution from the town, which which, Mary, I think we're gonna have you read, so everybody's aware of what it is. But they did want us to pass another resolution to submit to the package, and that's what this is.
Okay, resolution authorizing the items listed below pursuant to the New York Works 2 Environmental Restoration Projects funding. Whereas the town of Clermont, herein called the municipality, after thorough consideration of the various aspects of the problem and study of available data, has hereby determined that certain work, as described in its application and attachments, herein called the project, is desirable, is in the public interest, and is required in order to implement the project. Excuse me. And whereas Article 56 of the Environmental Conservation Law authorizes state assistance to municipalities for environmental restoration projects by means of a contract, and the municipality deems it to be in the public interest and benefit under this law to enter into a contract therewith. Whereas the enacted executive budget for state fiscal year 2013 to 2014, the 13-14 budget as reflected in Chapter 54, Laws of 2013, provided New York Works 2 funding for services, expenses, and indirect costs related to various environmental projects, including but not limited to environmental restoration projects. The law allows the Department of Environmental Conservation, the department, to enter into agreements with municipalities to undertake environmental restoration projects on behalf of a municipality upon request, provided that the municipality shall provide 10% of the total project cost, hereinafter referred to as NYW2 ERP. And now therefore be it resolved by Town of Clermont that Raymond Stats, Supervisor, is the representative authorized to act on behalf of the municipalities in all matters related to state assistance under ECL Article 56, Title 5. The representative is also authorized to make a request to the department by applying for participation in the NYW2 ERP to enter into an agreement to undertake an environmental restoration project on behalf of the municipality, execute the NYW2 ERP agreement, submit project documentation, and otherwise act for the municipality's governing body in all matters related to the project and to state assistance. That the municipality agrees that it will fund its portion of the cost of the project by reimbursing the department 10% of project costs, and that funds will be available to reimburse the department within 90 days after receipt of an invoice from the department. That one certified copy of this authorization be prepared and sent to the Albany office of the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation, together with the application for participation in NYW2 ERP. That this authorization takes effect immediately. And it's to be certified that the attached resolution is a true and correct copy of the resolution as regularly adopted at a legally convened meeting of the Clermont Town Board. It has to be certified.
Okay. Just to remind everybody, this is something that's we've been saddled with since I came on the board 7 years ago. We do have an opportunity to receive funding from the state. We went through this, and this is going back off memory because it's been several years, and Bob, you probably remember some of this too. We can match the 10%. We are responsible for 10% of the funding. The funding that I remember was somewhere in the $650,000 range of what it was going to cost for the whole project. We would be responsible for 10% of that, which would be somewhere around $65,000. And we are able to use in-kind or donate the material, which we have in the back of the property, possibly all of it, if not, enough to cover our 10%, $60,000 worth of fill, because that's what's going to require is to bring in a foot of fill to put over top of the contaminated land. So we do have the opportunity to do this with little or no cost to the town at all. So that's something we certainly want to take advantage of if the funding is available from the state. We've been waiting in this, they call it queue, for several years when they had no money to fund this kind of projects. So this is certainly something we want to take advantage if possible. So that's why the resolution is brought to the board, and we want to jump on that.
In the past, we paid for stuff that was done and then got reimbursed from the state. The way that's written, it sounds like the state is going to do it and pay it up front, and then we're gonna pay the 10%, which will come out of our in-kind
Right.
stuff, so that's a little different.
The way this is worded, it does sound a little different, because you're right, we did pay for it, we used to pay for it and get reimbursed.
Yeah.
So this does sound a little bit different, but, that's something in detail we work out if and when the funding's available, and they can provide it to us, but we'll work out the income.
Did this resolution come from them, or did Andy put that together?
This came from them, but Andy's the
Okay.
one who reviewed it, so
Yeah,
he sent this
okay.
down and asked us to pass this.
Okay.
And we do have some money in the budget already under this fund, just as.
We do have just a little bit of money, I think it's $6,000,
$6,000,
I believe. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think we can use some of the Con Ed money for that also, right? that-
If push comes to shove, we had to, yes,
Yeah,
correct. So,
but again, my understanding from talking with the engineer that did the original work on this is that you can get reimbursed or use as funds for that in an amount for what you would have had to pay outside. You can't make more on it than what your cost is. But as long as you charge less per yard or equal amount per yard than what any estimate would have been, you can get that much.
and we would probably have more than enough fill
Yeah.
to offset the $60,000.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we'll,
So move.
Second?
All in favor?
uh,
Opposed? Carried. Okay, moving on to new business, interviews for town board. We talked about this last month, we put out we put it on the internet, we talked about it, we posted it. Asked anybody that was interested in the vacancy for the town board to please contact Mary, send a letter. We have 2 people that are interested, apparently only 2 people, so we have 2 people we'd like to set up an interview for. We probably won't be making this appointment until the December meeting, maybe becoming effective the end of December, January 1st, but it will be to fill the vacated position of town board until the following election, which whoever we appoint would have to run again the following year. So I'd like to set the interviews for the 13th, a Thursday evening. We'll have this November 13th, and 6:30 and 6:45. And we'll contact both people, which actually are both here tonight, and figure out what works better. We'll try to get them in on one of those 2 times, and we'll do the interview process then. So November 13th, 6:30 and 6:45. Sales tax revenue, I just want to update everybody. We received our 3rd quarter sales tax check. It was $91,675.10 from the county. It was, in fact, what I've been predicting, about 6% above what we received last year. So that is good. Sales tax has been running above last year's amounts. We budgeted off of last year's amounts, so we're in pretty good shape. We are going to have a surplus in sales tax this year, which is a good thing because I've been notified that the mortgage tax payment coming, the last mortgage tax payment coming, is going to be under what we expected. I don't have the exact numbers yet, but we're going to be short on our revenues on the mortgage tax, which will have more than enough sales tax to offset it. But again, you don't like to see one come in short, one on high. But we are doing very well on the sales tax above and beyond what we budgeted. That's why for this next year's budget, 2015, we did increase a little bit on the revenues predicted for next year, expected for next year. So as long as everybody continues to spend money in Columbia County, it certainly helps the county and towns. So I would, again, encourage shop local. Anything you can spend in Columbia County, please do, because it does come back to the town and the county to offset taxes. So it definitely does help. Okay, I want to adopt the 2015 preliminary budget as the final budget. We had our hearings before we started this meeting. Went over the details of the budget. Unless there's any further comment, questions, I'd like to adopt as our final budget.
move that we adopt the budget as the final budget as reviewed in the public hearing.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, I have one appointment, a reappointment to make. It slipped by last month. On our BAR, Board of Assessment Review, we had an expiration September 30th. So I'd like to reappoint John Haltman, 4th, for a 5-year term to the BAR from 10/1/2014 to 9/30/2019.
So move.
Second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
And there's been some indications also, I don't think we've gotten an official notice yet, but one of the members of that board is gonna have to resign because he's working out of state.
Okay.
And also, we've had some indications that one of the zoning board members is gonna resign because they haven't been able to make meetings. So, again, if there's anybody out there that has an interest in being on either of those boards, let us know.
Okay, his term is actually up next year.
Yeah.
So yeah, anybody that's interested, we certainly may have openings as far as the bar goes, and the zoning board, so we'll certainly let you know as soon as we know if there's any changes, but anybody that's interested, please contact us ahead of time if you'd like. We seem to be having quite a few openings coming around, more frequently than usual, so. Okay. Moving on, supervisor report. Just to go through a few things that's been hot topics in the county. The bridge, no, I'm just kidding. The courthouse, we have a dedication for the courthouse coming up November 14th at 2 p.m. The courthouse has been completed. They're moving stuff back in. It came out very nice. The windows are replaced. Very nice project. Really something you do every 100 years. We spent a lot of money in that courthouse. It was a $10 million project, but hopefully you're there hopefully you're there for the right reasons, but please stop by, take a look at it, and it's really a very nice job done by all on this project. It came out very nice.
Are you gonna have any kind of an open house, or?
The dedication is going to the 14th at 2 p.m. I don't know if they're gonna do an open house or when they are. I haven't heard anything more than that. I'll have to let you know if I hear. I don't know.
I just went by there the other day and I saw the front, how they did the front. That is really nice.
Very nice.
The
Very
ramps
nice.
going up from both sides. It doesn't seem to alter the look of the building.
No, they did it very architecturally
Yeah,
correct.
very nice.
Spent a lot of money on doing it, but they really came out very
Yeah,
nice.
very nice.
Nice. And again, it's a centerpiece for Hudson. It's a very nice courthouse, and that's why we, like I said, we don't do something like this every 10, 20 years. This is a 100-year project. Hopefully it lasts, for that or more. But it came out very nice. Pine Haven, we're reviewing the bids that came in for Pine Haven to privatize, to sell to a private organization. I haven't been involved in the bid review process. It has not come to committee for consideration yet. We do have a meeting scheduled coming up to discuss and go through it, so there's no real update on that. I know they did receive bids, and I just don't have any more information at this point. But it is something we'll be looking at and determining if that's something we want to go down or not, the road we want to do. I'll let you know as soon as I have more information on that. Aquawamic, sale of the Aquawamic School, the old Aquawamic School. That was put to a public auction, and the highest bidder, I believe it was in the paper, I believe it was $500,000 roughly, which is quite a bit below the appraised value. The county paid over $1 million for this facility several years ago. We probably didn't really quite think we were going to get that money back, but we didn't really expect the $500,000 bid either. But the board, the supervisors, or some of the supervisors, are very enthusiastic about getting rid of this property. They'd like to jump on this $500,000. I have my reserved feelings on this because I do have. I have a couple of issues with it. One of them, and I'm going to put it out there because I've argued this when it was bought. When we bought this property, there was supposedly going to be a shared services with the town of Clermont. They wanted to take and put a town hall on a 2-acre parcel adjoined to, or part of this Aquawamic School. So they wanted to share services, the plowing, the upkeep, the maintenance. So the board decided to vote to go ahead and give them 2 acres of land when we bought this Aquawanga School for future development of their town hall. Well, I voted against it then, and I'm gonna vote against it now, because to me, you're taking county taxpayer dollars to purchase something. Why does one town benefit from that? Why does one town get 2 acres given to them for nothing? So I have a hard time with this, and especially now that we're not keeping the parcel, we're not making anything to do with shared services, we're not gonna use this thing, we're just selling it. They still wanna carve out the 2 acres and give it to the town of Clermont. Now, again, this is county taxpayer dollars that bought this. Why does the town of Clermont get to keep 2 acres? I mean, if it's $2,000, $10,000, $20,000 value, it should go back to the county taxpayers, not to a town. So I'm gonna vote against the sale for that main reason, even though I do think the price is very low, and I'm not really happy with, with accepting $500,000 to start with, but I certainly am not gonna support giving any individual town 2 acres of taxpayer dollars, county taxpayer dollars. So that's gonna be coming up this month. A lot of supervisors, like I said, want that $500,000 because it's not budgeted. It's gonna help with the budget this year to fill voids that were uncollected revenues or other overexpended expenditures, but I'm not so happy about the $500,000. And, to piggyback on that, the foreclosures, we just went through a round of foreclosures for 2009. If a lot of these supervisors are that gung-ho about getting money back, why don't we process our foreclosures a little quicker? I've been on this for years, trying to get these foreclosures processed quicker. You have to wait 3 years to process a foreclosure. Right now, the next round that they're working on is 2010. So you didn't pay your tax in 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. You're 5 years delinquent before we're foreclosed on your house. So we're losing the value every year that the taxes aren't paid, because when we foreclose and auction these off, we're getting 10 cents on the dollar, hopefully enough to cover the back taxes. Some cases, in a lot of cases, we're not. We're losing money hand over fist by not processing these foreclosures on time. And it's been an argument that's brought up almost every meeting in county government that I've said, where are we at with this? There's millions of dollars in back taxes due, and that we could sell off, and either get back or get back on the tax roll. That would certainly help with the bottom line. So, I mean, if the supervisors are so happy to take the $500,000, you'd think they'd be happier to get the foreclosures processed a little quicker. But again, that's a fight that I've been continually fighting, and I will continue to bring up all the time. Commissioner of Public Works, probably read that in the paper. They're not going to fill the Commissioner of Public Works position. That's the term is up, I believe, today. So they're not going to fill this position in hopes to save money. It's a $100,000 position. It's a very expensive position, but this position oversees engineering, solid waste, and the highway department. It's a central coordination position to oversee the 3 departments, big departments. And I feel very strongly that this position should be filled, because I think these departments need oversight. You have several big departments with a lot of money being spent, and you're not going to have an engineer to be the commissioner to oversee this. And there's stuff that the engineer commissioner does as far as state filings and stuff that nobody else in the county is able to do. And they're talking about subbing this work out. To me, it's an overall bad decision. Again, I've voiced my opinion on this, and I'm the minority on that fight as well. But I just see it as a bad move, and I hope it doesn't cost the taxpayers more money in the long run. Ginsburg, that's another big thing in the paper. Ginsburg's fighting with the county. They would like a donation of the land for their expansion. I have to say I do not have enough detail. I'm not familiar with enough on this to really comment. But right off the top, I just don't see how the county can just give this land, hand this land over. It was purchased with county funds. There has to be some kind of monetary payment for this land. I can't see me supporting this without at least paying us what we paid for the land years ago. I don't really, again, I don't have enough detail to give any further discussion on that or any further comment. It's about all I have for the county. If anybody has anything that I may have information on, you're more than welcome to ask me or talk to me after the meeting if you'd like to pick my brain on anything else that's going on. And I just want to make sure, remind everybody, well, only good is here, everybody's here, that tomorrow is election day. Please show up to vote. Certainly the ham dinner, the election day dinner from 4 to 6 is always a good meal. I hope people that come vote at least take advantage of the meal next door. I enjoy it. I'll be here, and I want to thank the Village Green Committee for putting this on, and Tammy especially for coordinating this, but everybody that volunteers is certainly a lot of work, and very little payback for them, so I appreciate everything they do, the Village Green Committee and Tammy as well, for doing this and coordinating. So again, thanks to them. And thanks to all the election day workers, because I know that is a long day. So thank you for your participation and dedication to helping the community out. It's a very long day. Okay, that's all I have. Motion to pay abstracts, and then we'll get the public comment.
Move we pay general abstract number 11, claims 284 through 315, in a total of $5,199.86.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Motion we pay highway abstract number 11, vouchers number 118 through 126 for the amount of $5,437.98.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Move we pay trust and agency, abstract number 3, voucher number 4, in the amount of $132.
Second.
I got the easy one.
You got the lead. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, public comment, communications to the board. Do you have any public comment?
I have.
Just step right up to the podium for us.
I just have a question. When you said you got a bid on the Aquamic thing, is the proposed buyer a taxpayer?
It
Would it go back on the tax roll?
Yes, it will, absolutely. It's somebody from Germantown, as a matter of fact.
Oh, I know who you mean.
Okay. So we will definitely be back on the tax roll, which will help, obviously, to get it back into taxes, yes. Any other comments? If there's no other comment, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you very much.